everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica, and in today's video I wanted to talk about how I recently walked away from $100,000. I had no problem doing so. I do not come from money at all. I just know my worth, and I've also been working really hard on my mental side of my life, and I know that I don't want to stick around when things aren't happening the right way. If you do follow me, you do know that my husband and I have had a lot of success in California, and I know it may seem like, oh, it was so easy for her to walk away from 100 grand, like they could only do that because they had enough money to go around, but I literally have done this before. Years ago, I was in my hometown working for this crazy doctor making like $15 an hour, and I literally walked away from him without any game plan at all. He just treated me like total crap and thought I was a mind reader, and I was just so unhappy. So I don't want y'all to think that they're comfortable, it's fine, about money. No, I do have faith in God and the universe being able to direct me the right way. So I have done this before, years ago. So I will continue doing it for the rest of my life. If I'm unhappy and things aren't changing, I think you should really take a stand for what you believe in. This video is not at all meant to slander or slam the company that I used to be with. It's actually no longer on my LinkedIn or anything, so you can't even try to stalk me to figure out who it is, and I guarantee you've never heard of them. Not to slam them, but I wanted to share my story because this has happened to me before at other jobs, and I think I could have helped solve some of their problems if I would have done things differently when it comes to when I have problems at work or problems with a job. An example, my husband always tells me stand up to them, tell them this, be rational but don't be soft. And I don't know, I'm a pretty nice person. I can be firm, but I'm learning to be more firm, especially in the industry that I am in. I do social media management, if you're new and you did not know that. And so I manage major brands' accounts. I create the content and the strategy and the influencers, the whole 9 yards. So I was working for this company. I actually moved to Orange County this past summer. I think it was in July. I can't even remember anymore. I moved to Orange County for this particular job. I was at this company, and they're in the health and fitness space, which is my background as far as brands I manage. And I noticed a few things right off the bat. An example, I went into the HR or the temporary HR's office my first day, and they have a warehouse underneath. I've worked at companies like this before where you have your administrative office on top, and then you have your warehouse below that makes your products, and that's how this setup was. And I noticed right off the bat someone was helping me, the HR assistant was helping me, and clearly I'm going to be upstairs, and then someone else was talking to a warehouse worker. And if you didn't know, a lot of warehouses are, sorry, a car just drove by. If you didn't know, a lot of warehouses are located in not the best parts of town, because if you need to have hundreds of employees in your warehouse, you're obviously not going to be paying them a ton of money, so it's just better to be situated in a worse part of town. That way your warehouse workers can come in, as opposed to being closer to where your administrative team would work, if that makes sense. I mean, I've seen it all over Los Angeles. That's how it works. And so I immediately asked the HR lady, I was like, how is turnover here? She asked if I had some questions. I asked other things too. She said, oh, we hire 6 new people a week. And I was like, bro, that's a lot of people. I didn't say anything, just in my head I was like, great, what have I gotten myself into? Because we ended up moving for this job. So this woman comes in to talk with the HR team. She's a new warehouse worker, and she's nice, she's probably 21 years old, super nice girl. And she literally talked to her as if she was her what's it called, parole officer. She was so freaking rude, and I just sat there bro, are you kidding? If you were to talk to me like that, that would not be okay. I know I said at the beginning I can be soft, but I'm from Texas. You don't talk to women, you don't talk to people a certain way. Respect. You have respect for one another. Anyway, I was there. I started poking around, asking some friends within the few weeks that I was there, and I was like, what about this? What about this? I found out the person that did their social media before got fired, which of course he didn't know at all what he was doing. And also the team that ran the whole company, they were siblings. So it was like polarized. You had like the brother who knew literally nothing. He has no like educated background knowledge on marketing, and he was like in charge of the marketing team. He was like this younger, egotistical type of a guy. And then you had his sister who's like in Forbes. She's like the brains behind the operation. She's actually like really smart, and I really respect her because she's doing the best she can. But it was polarized. Like they couldn't touch each other's territory. He did marketing and she did basically everything else. So I had a lot of issues, as you can see. And I had a lot of issues with the head of marketing, who was like this total scammy guy. He's like this young, like, I don't know, like 33-year-old guy who literally knew nothing. Like, I have been at major companies. I know what it takes to like know what you're talking about. And I know when you're full of shit, basically. When I went there, he had never started a campaign at all. He had never launched anything. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you've never had a campaign, like a sale, like you're supposed to be the marketing team, and like they have two different logos. It's like a whole ordeal. Anyway, the big learning point of this all was how I changed their entire company structure single-handedly. And that is because I have this here. So in the midst of all this drama, I already knew that I wanted out, and I had already found another way out with another job and whatnot. So I decided I have nothing to lose at this point, so let me just go for it. Like, let me say what I need to say. It's not going to be something emotionally driven. It's going to be something like, hey, you're screwing up. Your entire team is screwing up. Oh, and on top of it, like, their head of marketing dude literally was encouraging us to spend money, because I'm almost certain, he was a consultant, by the way, I'm almost certain in his contract he got a percentage of anything that he brought in, which means like he would encourage me and like my friend that did the PR and all these other people to spend money, because then he'd get a cut of it, as opposed to doing it in-house internally. So what I decided to do was to write a letter, and I highly recommend doing this if you're in this same position. Like, granted, if you're with like some people that just don't understand like that they're messing up, and it's so old school, like older people, you're gonna have a very hard time. I've been there, it's very hard. But when you're with like younger people, like under 40, an example, and they know that they're messing up, and like some people at least know that they're messing up, then that's your opportunity to be like, hey, I'm here to save your company. Granted, you do have to have a lot of knowledge to like back up your points, which is what I have here. I was thinking about leaving a copy of this in the comments section, or in the caption, but I wanted to just read it because I don't want to like reveal the names and like certain parts of it. I'd rather just read it. This isn't the final draft. I couldn't find my final draft, but this is my second to last draft. So it said, "Dear blah 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 blah. As you both know, I will be leaving the company effective insert date." Because like I literally didn't even give them a 2 weeks notice. I was just like, hey, peace. I initially wanted to meet in regards to the issues the marketing team has experienced. However, the longer I'm here and the more I learn, the more I see the marketing team issues are just the beginning. Please note that most of the issues below are in regards to my experiences with blank, blank, and the marketing team. This does not reflect the girl, the owner of the company, the sister, as I did not work hand in hand with her. I wanted to share a list below with full transparency of the issues that made me decide to leave. Number 1. Not only do the women notice, but men also notice that women and men are not treated equally here. Many times I have been talked down to in a condescending way, and I've experienced it both from blank and blank. And even the guys literally were like, yeah, they don't respect y'all's opinions at all. And I'm like, I'm literally the only one with legit experience at this company, or at least on the marketing team. Number 2. With 2 people in leadership positions, insert guy number 1 and guy number 2, that are inexperienced at successfully leading a team, you are essentially leading your team off of a cliff. Never in my life have I met someone more incompetent at leading a team and doing their job as blank. Since my first day at the office, I have heard nothing but horrible remarks about blank's lack of leadership, condescending tone, treatment of women differently than men, lack of pure knowledge on marketing and business in general, inability to lead a productive marketing meeting whatsoever, lack of morals, such as asking others to lie about sales statistics that were organic, and all kinds of other like labels. And the fact that he has been here for months and never once discussed a campaign idea or sales idea says a lot to me. Yeah, by the way, this guy literally would have like marketing meetings for hours over nothing. He taught us a brainstorming strategy. Like, bro, we're adults. Like, You don't need to teach us how to brainstorm. That is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it's very disturbing to me how passionate he is about spending money. One of my many assigned tasks was to figure out what to do with insert media company, a content creator he outsourced and had no use for. So my task was to find a way we could use them because we literally had already paid them a lot of money. Speaking of tasks, did you know he took the liberty of assigning me numerous busy work tasks that had nothing to do with my job within the first week? A lot of people hire social media managers and don't know like at all like what their job is, and they just like have no idea. And like if you have a good social media manager, they take the initiative, they like run the ball and move forward, which is what I was doing. But he was just giving me like random things to do, like figure out one of the tasks was to figure out our buyers' personas basically, which is like not all companies do this, but it's more of an old school thing where you figure out like who your target consumer is, and like you break it down by like age, and these are the stores they shop at, and blah blah blah. Like, bro, I do your social media. That's not my job. You're supposed to provide that to me. Anyway, number 3. Social media feedback and decisions in particular are backed by opinions of motions of blank and blank. If you look at our competitors, they are all well aware of what the market they are selling in, which is food. If you look at our account in the direction blank has led it in, you will see that we are trying to sell a lifestyle, which is, I'm not even gonna go there with what, you're selling food, people. Our competitors' accounts, most of their best performing images are also close-up product shots of the food. It is a simple correlation to see backed by data. By not allowing me to do my job to the best of my abilities, the company is put at a tremendous disadvantage. We are in the business of selling food, not a lifestyle. Commentary made recently by blank also does not help the situation. In a meeting recently, I was sharing organic follower growth analytics, to which he replied, "Follower count does not mean anything to me." This is essentially the vein of my existence. Telling blank, sales doesn't matter, would be an equivalent. I'm not sure this company understands what social media management is. My job is not to create a desirable product, to design a website that converts, etc. I bring eyes to the brand. If it does not sell, it virtually has nothing to do with my own social media abilities and skills, as long as I'm presenting the product well online. Like if you see it online on social, you click on it, you go to the website, and you find out that like all these things are wrong with it, that has nothing to do with me, basically. And I also read this out loud to the woman who's like the sister of the situation. I read this out loud to her, but I will elaborate on that after I'm done reading this. Since day one, it has been made very clear that this company lacks being cohesive and establishing a direction. From various logos, different directions on the website, branding in disarray, and that's just scraping the surface. In a recent social media meeting, it was made clear to me that I will continue to fight a long and hard fight with blank and blank if I'm going to achieve the goals that need to be met in my department. We decided on a direction in my first week when I did this whole presentation, and basically we all came to the agreement it would be WeWork type of vibes, which is like an office thing, just Google it. Gender neutral, entrepreneurial, balanced lifestyle, fitness, and green and blue tones. Our content creator and I just continued to move in this original direction and started to shape the Instagram. Per our last meeting, once again, things are about to go in a completely different direction. This meeting went from a clear direction that was 95% complete to a minimalistic style to viral comedy videos to time-lapse random art videos to modern new age style of content. This entire brand will maintain this large amount of confusion with branding until it realizes that this continues to be a huge problem. This is standing in the way of your own success. Hire experts who can provide branding direction and let it go. Let people do their jobs. I was being set up to look like the bad guy for doing my job and having to constantly explain that I have several years of experience of growing thousands and thousands of followers. You're hindering your own growth with your personal opinions and emotions once again. On to point number 5. We're over halfway there. The entire marketing team lives in fear of speaking up and voicing their concerns. In meetings, those of us that do have the courage to voice the concerns of their entire team are met with confrontation and lack of understanding. The issues of the company are not handled properly and often mocked or ignored. Please understand that while only 2 or 3 of us speak up, each and every person on the team all has the same exact issues. Others are simply too afraid to say anything. Because, yeah, like I said, the main guy is like very like aggressive and like territorial and stuff. So like obviously if you brought up anything to him, you'd just be like, huh, whatever. I'm like, great, you make a great leader. Anyway. Across the board, you've hired very talented experts in almost every vertical. I have said this from day one to blank. However, these experts are never allowed to do their jobs. Everyone is constantly micromanaged. Organizations should be an expression of the talent of their employees, not of the emotions of their founders. My husband added that line. I'll give him some credit there. More than anything on this entire list, you don't value anyone on your team, from the marketing team to those in the warehouse. Did you know that Lenny and Larry's has virtually the same exact setup as we do in the warehouse, with the warehouse in the back, except in the bad part of town in the valley in LA? The entire time I was there, not a single warehouse worker quit because they are valued and treated as equals. It seems everyone here is just taken for granted. This should be made clear as team members have started to leave for similar reasons, and soon others will be gone, which was like me hinting at her like, bro. Literally 90% of your marketing team is about to leave if you don't change. And then I left with a quote from Richard Branson that says something along the lines of, treat people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so that they don't want to. And then I left them my personal email. Now, let's talk about what happened after. So my goal was to approach my boss, which is like that crazy dude, with this letter. By the way, the consultant guy was not even present for this. Like, I could not care less about this guy. He literally told me follower count doesn't matter. I'm like, bro, do you even know what I do for a living? Do you even know why you hired me? Like, I can't even right now. I just can't. And I sound like a typical LA white girl right now, and I'm sorry about that as well. So my plan on this certain Friday at the end of this week, a few weeks back, was to read this letter to the dude, like the main, like, you know, the siblings, the guy of the sibling relationship. And he was out of town. He ended up going on vacation and I had no idea. So I took this as a sign from the universe that, like, or God, universe, whatever term you want to use, to not talk to him because he would probably freak out if I read that to him. So I decided to talk to her, and she is normally like not a part of like the business meeting. She's not a part of anything. So I went ahead and read this entire letter out loud to her. And basically after I read her the letter, she apologized. She's like a little bit older than me. She's probably like, I think she's under 30. She's probably like 28. And she apologized that like the men and women were treated differently. She asked questions. She asked like, she wanted me to stay. I felt bad because I had already accepted another offer, and honestly, like, so many things had gone wrong at this company. At that point, I was like, no, like, girl, bye. I felt bad, but I let her know that, like, no, today is gonna be my last day. Like, I'm done from here, sorry. And I went on my way. Like, I basically just walked away. The money had nothing to do with it for me, because you're not gonna treat me like that. And, like, if you're good at social media, you can find a job anywhere. Like, recruiters are in your inbox constantly. Like, it is not difficult to find a high-paying job, like equally or more than what I was being paid there. And so with that company, I left and I still had friends there. So I wanted to know, like, is this gonna impact anyone's lives? Like, this letter, like, did I change the company at all? Well, it turns out a lot of happy changes have been happening at that company. I don't know if they're continuing to happen now, but after I left, when that guy came back from vacation, he was in for a very rude awakening because I intentionally, like, shook up their entire company and I walked out, and yeah, like, a lot happened. From what I've been told, he was, like, very, very emotional and like aggressive and angry for like the first 2 weeks, which, like, I get it, everyone handles things differently. But after that, now as siblings, they're in every meeting together as opposed to just him. A big problem was that he was the only one in it, and like historically they had never been able to like cross into each other's territory. It's just like a territorial issue. So now in every company meeting, they're in the same meetings together. Then the guy who was in charge of the marketing team, the consultant that literally had no business doing what he was doing, he's no longer in the office. I mean, I hear that he comes in like maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, but he used to be in every single day and literally drive all of us insane and like didn't know anything. And like, oh my gosh, like, he was just like such a scheming person. And also he was friends with the dude, like the guy of the siblings, like they were like bros. So that's even worse. Like, how are you gonna tell like a guy his like best close friend is like completely dumb? But basically this entire letter shook up the entire company. A lot of people continued to leave. I think in total of like the upstairs, maybe like 5 of us, going on 6. I know one person is, or no, 2 people are also looking. So like about 7 of us total are the ones who like either left or are about to leave. And so it really did shake them up, and I am glad that I did it. Part of me really wanted to stay and like see what was going to happen, see if changes were going to be made. I've already heard that the changes have plateaued, unfortunately, but it did make a huge lasting impact, and you know, some of those employees were like very thankful that I went ahead and did that. And I genuinely think like the universe put me in that situation because they needed someone to have a voice for them, because all of the women there, they're so amazing, and the one of them did speak up, but the rest of them were kind of too shy and too afraid and timid to speak up, so they were just continually treated like crap. And they like didn't even realize they were being like ridiculed, and like racist remarks were being made against them. Like, they're Asian, and like he made remarks about like Hello Kitty within like their designs. Like, I don't even want to like elaborate, but like you can just fill in the blanks. It was just totally not cool. But I don't know, I'm just really glad that I had the courage to write that letter and give it to them and literally let them know like this isn't going to happen anymore. And it definitely has changed the way that I think about like jobs moving forward, because if you're having serious problems and you're especially in like maybe a startup or a mid-level company, granted if you're in a corporate company, rest in peace, like I'm so sorry. I hope that you can make changes, but that's going to be very difficult. But yeah, I definitely recommend like standing up and speaking your voice, and definitely like take the time, like if you're gonna write a letter, take the time to read it, reread it, have your sister read it, have your husband read it, have some of your coworkers read it, make sure that like, first off, you're not offending anyone. Like I wanted to be sure I wasn't calling out like anyone specifically, like any of my coworkers, because I didn't want them to be targeted. If that were to come to that, like that's how some issues were handled, like some people were targeted. Anyway guys, I hope reading my letter was helpful for you, and if you would like me to read over any letters that you might be thinking of writing, feel free to send them to me on Instagram at @meetjessicamarie. That's always the fastest way to get in contact with me. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below if you want to stick around for more videos. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!